movement moments, which are really, really helpful for everybody of all ages. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself and her story. And this episode today is a little bit of a special holiday edition. We had a few people really interested in certain things we've talked about in the past. So we're going to do a viewer request and some recap of some of the highlights and the favorites. They're all great exercises, but these are tips you can incorporate into your day. And my mom's going to share with you how. And, you know, this time of year, everybody is thinking about, they're reflecting on last year, reflecting on what they want for the next year. And these are just some great simple ways. Sorry, this is a new scarf I got for Christmas and it has fuzz. So it's like, so Mom, tell us a little bit about you, Movement Moments, how you started it. What is this stuff?
Well, I've always been interested in movement, and over the years practiced a lot of various things like yoga and so on. Was a yoga teacher at one point. In any case, as I got older and older and things started to crop up, I discovered the natural movement, which is basically talking about what our bodies are meant to do and what we do most of the time, which is not what we're meant to do, which is sitting. We're meant to be hunter-gatherers, even though the culture has evolved, but our bodies haven't. So we have these bodies that are meant to move all day and then just lie down at night and go to sleep. But instead, we sit most of the day, even if we are exercising. And even if we're pretty fit and do a lot of exercise, there's huge parts of our bodies that we don't move. And we are basically sedentary. So I started having the usual problems that come up when you've been sedentary for over 70 years, 60, 70 years. And when my first grandchild was born, I was down there a lot taking care of him because my daughter-in-law was working. And I carried him on my hip all the time. Does that sound familiar? You don't have to be a grandmother to do that. And that, I think, what made the flare-up happen. And then I got really sore every time I sat in the car for a while. And I went to physical therapy and all these kinds of things. But what I found what really helped over the long run was steady movement of all these muscles that are supposed to be moving and the strengthening of those muscles. And so I developed these series of, I stole a lot of things from a lot of people and a lot of good ideas out there from a lot of people who are talking about movement. And I found the things that work for me and that work for a lot of other people. And it's basically, the big thing is, it's not something you have to do as a self-care. Okay, let's say I got this self-care and that self-care and this self-care. You don't have to, you fit these moments into your day. You are doing something else and you're also doing one of these movement moments. And therefore you don't need any extra time and you make it a habit. So that's essentially what I'm constantly trying to figure out new ones and I'm learning all the time. And they help. I mean, the bottom line is, I basically took care of that hip issue that I had, and I've strengthened those areas of the hip, and I've strengthened all sorts of things and I've set my expectations very high. As I get older, I don't want to be less mobile. I want to be more mobile. I'm getting stronger. So there you go.
Yes, it's so true. And so I say this every week and my mom laughs at me and rolls her eyes, but she's getting better. I like people to know how old you are. I'm 47. I'm almost 48. And I feel like I'm aging backwards. You definitely are, Mom. When she was here visiting us this last fall, she was literally running and jumping over logs and playing with Sage and picking apples. And at
76. I'm going to be 76
77
again.
next month.
Right.
Really impressive, you all. So I'm proud of my mom, and she should be very proud of herself. She's helped her hip feel better. She's helped her shoulder feel better. I've noticed a really noticeable difference in her upper back and neck. And so today we have a lot to cover. Hi, Maxine. Thanks for jumping on. I see you on here. We always love having you all on here to join us. So, we're going to go over quite a bit today. So we're going to move kind of quickly. If you guys have questions, drop them in the comments. But Mom, so some of the key things, the exercises you talked about incorporating them into your day. One of the things that you have done with Movement Moments is figured out a way to do these sort of therapeutic. It's really not an additional exercise. It's taking the movement we already do and being conscious of what you're doing. That's a big part. Like if you're sitting in a chair or you're standing at the counter or driving in a vehicle or sitting at a desk, doing the laundry, whatever it is you're doing already, carrying grocery bags, what muscles are you using? How are you holding your body while you're doing those things. And when you tweak those things, those movements you're already doing in the way that my mom's about to tell you, it's amazingly rehabilitative and therapeutic. So we're going to talk about what are some of the highlights, Mom, some of the things that we get out.
Okay, well, that might sound like a lot to do. And like you're saying, I can't deal with thinking about something else when I'm so busy. But what this really is you take one at a time and you make it a habit. And then you gradually get used to thinking that way. And it really isn't, it's very easy, actually. So one of the first ones I talked about was something called head ramping, which is basically we all sit forward. We look at our phones. This is the natural way we have ended up being, which is not really the way you're supposed to be designed. You're designed to have your head sit right above your spine and not be hanging like this. And the head's very heavy. And the more it leans forward, the heavier it gets. So the head ramping is basically you take your hand and you push your chin, and you're not looking down. Your eyes are looking straight ahead, and you're pushing your chin in, and you're feeling the stretch in the back of your neck. You can also put your hand here and press against it, and you can feel that isometric movement in the back of the neck muscles. Those neck muscles get overstretched and weak, and it affects, we all know, the back, your back, your shoulders, and everything. And this is really a remarkable intervention, so to speak, if you get used to doing it. And you can make yourself, think about one thing, or put stickies up on your computer so that every certain number of times you just do this, or when you're driving in the car, and whenever you think of it. And I had one young woman who was very fit, tremendously. She was a marathon runner, real high energy, high achiever, and she had two young children. And I was showing this thing at a retreat, and she came up to me afterwards. She says, after my first pregnancy, I had the worst trouble with my neck, and I went everywhere. I couldn't, nothing has helped. And she said, I did this when you told me, and something just said, wow, this is really something I need to do. And she's been doing it. And I talked to her a year later, and she says, oh my God, it's made such a difference. So try it.
It makes a difference. And really quickly, we talked about this before, but I pulled this back up again, and this is really powerful, these numbers. At 0 degrees, which is when your head is, kind of where it should be.
Over your spine, yeah.
Your head is a neutral spine, about 10 to 12 pounds is what your head is. At 15 degrees, which is slightly forward, your head becomes about 27 pounds. At 30 degrees, your head is about 40 pounds. At 45 degrees, your head is about 50 pounds. And at 60 degrees, your head is about 60 pounds. And so we're all guilty of that, right? We're hunched over and our head becomes really, really heavy. And I can attest to the fact that this head ramping has saved me from a lot of headaches. So I just thought those numbers are pretty powerful.
Right.
So what's next, Mom?
Okay. And hands. I started having trouble with my hands as I got older, and my hands were puffy and they'd hurt. And one of the things, this is one key that I found extremely encouraging, because I want to keep up with my grandchildren. I don't want to be gradually having to decrease what I do. And my hands started to hurt, and you say, oh, well, I just won't be able to, you start restricting your movement. But that's actually the opposite of what one really should be doing, because the more you move, the more curative it is. And so the thing with hands is I started doing a few things, but one of the most important ones was you stand up like this. I don't know if that's a good way to show it. Here. And you basically, you can do it out in front also. You want to stretch and extend your hands as hard as you can so that you feel the energy, and you're doing it. You're not just flinging them, you're stretching them out. And while you're doing that, you're feeling it all through your arms, like you're sending a magic rays out. You're Wonder Woman. So you do this. I try to do it 100 times. I do it in the morning when I'm walking, or some time when I'm doing something else. This is really easy to fit in if you're on the phone.
If you put your phone down, take your phone out of your hands.
Yeah, exactly. Use your hands free. And if you don't want to do 100, then set a timer and do it to a minute or something like that. And it's amazingly rehabilitative. It makes your hands feel great. And
If
over
a
a
person
period of
can't
time,
do 100, I know when I first started doing this, it was too hard for me to
right.
do 100 or a minute. Is it okay to do it a few at a time and then do a
Oh,
little more
sure.
later?
Oh, absolutely. You work up to it, and you find that you'll find the strength will come to you after a while, and it's very strengthening. And it's very basic because we don't, we're holding things in our hands, but we rarely extend them. I mean, you can see I've got old hands. I can't. There's no denying it. When you get a certain age, certain things look old. Well, the collagen gets, they get shrunken. Anyway, it works. It's really super good. I can't recommend it enough. Okay, and the next one that everybody liked and that is really important is standing on one foot and working on your balance. The thing is, I use a standing desk for a lot of what I do, but also, even if you don't have a standing desk, which I, by the way, would recommend, but if you're standing a lot when you're standing at the counter, or working at a sink, or doing dishes, or cooking, or whatever, waiting in line somewhere, take advantage of those times, of those movement moments to stand on one foot. But the trick is, you don't just stand on the foot and then, you don't want to stand on one foot and then shift your weight to one side, which we all do. I mean, we do that when we're standing on 2 feet. And you should correct yourself when you feel that. Your hips aren't made for you to hang off of them. They're made to move and support you in a certain way. And all of these, your butt muscles and your side hip muscles are made to carry you in a direct way, not by hanging off of them. So when you stand on one foot, you make sure that you're not standing this way, but that you're pushing in to the ground with the foot you're standing on. And you'll feel the difference immediately. And if you start doing this, I love doing it when I'm washing dishes or at the counter or something. I never stand on one. And then I maybe lean over, and I just work that leg, and I make sure that it's the hip is in that position, that it's not leaning over. And it strengthens your legs and your hips tremendously. I mean, Robin started doing it as fit as she is, and she's very fit. She felt it after she started standing.
I did. And I can tell it's been 3 or 4 weeks since we did this episode, and I can feel a huge difference. I mean, I literally had a hard time standing on one leg. I do it brushing my teeth. I do it washing dishes, but I had a hard time standing on that one leg for very long. It would get tired just holding my hip in like that. And I have hip issues, and it's so much better now. It's crazy.
And it's terrific for your balance. And I mean, older people in particular start worrying about balance, because balance starts to go. All of these things are going downhill, but they don't have to. Mostly they go downhill because we restrict our movements and we're sitting. If we weren't sitting, then, people in Aboriginal cultures do not degenerate. Their ability to walk, run, and do all that does not go downhill because they keep on doing it. I mean, they do it every day. And we do not. So that's the thing. Start doing it every day.
Right.
And you don't have to, you're going to be standing at the counter or standing in line anyway. So why not?
Restaurants, checkout line, everything.
Checkout lines, absolutely. Okay, another one. This is very similar to the hip thing, which is something else we don't do, which is reach up. We're also meant to hang. Hunter-gatherers would actually hang from things and go through trees and pick things up. And people tend, as they get older, I heard a conversation once, he said, I can't reach up that high, so I moved everything down low. That's the opposite of what you should do. You should have everything high up so you have to reach it. And so this is an easy one. Every time you go through a doorway, just touch the top of the doorway. That's all. This is a bifold door in a closet. But, just touch the top of the doorway and make sure you do it in every.
It's hard to hear you a little bit, Mom. You might have to talk a little louder.
Okay. I was walking away from the mic. So basically, you have a lot of opportunity of walking through doorways, and I have a bar, so I also hang from it. If you don't have a bar, you can also take a strong door and put something over it like a towel to protect your hands and just hang from the top of the door. Just make sure the door has at least 3 hinges on it, because the flimsy ones that are only at 2 inches, they probably aren't a good idea to hang from them.
Hollow doors, yeah.
Outside doors are good, or that kind of thing. So it's amazing to feel how good it feels when you hang. It's just so invigorating. I mean, and we're always slouched over in this way. And also, we're made to be able to put our hands above our heads. And lots of people cannot do this. I mean, right. Robin's been working out for years, and so she can do it. And she does those kinds of exercises. But a lot of 77-year-old women or men can't do this. I don't think.
No,
I mean, I see things, I watch a lot of, some people, if they're procrastinating or on their phone or something, they're looking at their latest viral video. But I'm looking at movement YouTube videos and things. And all these different ways to do this and that. And a lot of them, when people are explaining how to do something for older people, they'll say, just get your hand up as high as you can. You might not be able to get this high. So I know for a fact that lots of people can't reach up high. Right. And it's something that there's no reason why we can't do it. Older people cannot, the reason they cannot do it is because they don't do it. It's not because there's some natural aging process that's happening. Sure, we're all aging in a lot of different ways, but that's not one of them. It's the sedentary lifestyle. It's the lack of movement that's causing these things to happen.
And for some people watching, you may be thinking, well, I'm not old yet, or I'm not that old, but thinking about it, it starts early on. It starts when you're a lot younger. And one thing I've learned is to move into the stiffness. Like, you don't want to cause excruciating pain, but if you're feeling stiff or you're feeling sore, like, oh, I can't quite reach, my inclination then is to go further. Like, I want to get through that. Of course, you don't want to cause pain, but thinking about what my mom has talked about, it starts a lot earlier than in your 70s, right? This restriction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And what Robin said is so true. Motion is lotion, they say. Yeah. When you're sore, a lot of us, our first instinct would be to baby whatever it is. I mean, that's what you hear. You rest it and you baby it for a while, but that's the absolute opposite of, aside from really acute pain, if you've got soreness and stiffness, the best thing you can do is not only move those muscles and stretch them, but actually strengthen them. Work to put load on them and make them move and make them hold things, because that's what they're made to do, and that's what heals. That's what gets circulation going and gets the blood flowing, and it's very healing. We're running out of time here. I want to do one more thing, and that's what's called a hip hinge, or how to lean over. I mean, you hear this people with back problems, but basically, if you're going to lean over for any reason at all, you shouldn't be leaning over like this. I don't think I'm showing this very well.
Scoot the other way. There you go.
There you go. You shouldn't be leaning over like this. You should be leaning over like this. Your back should be neutral without any bend in the lower spine. And so you use your legs and you use your butt and you lean over. And there's so many opportunities to practice that. Basically, you go into a semi-squat when you pick things up. Anything that's on the floor when you pick, or you have to get something that's down low, or you have to put your shoes on, or anything like that. You take or unloading the dishwasher. Make sure that when you lean over, you're not leaning over like this. You're keeping your spine neutral and you're going down from the legs. And that there's a lot of opportunity to fit that in.
Right. Awesome.
Okay.
Yay. Well, we ran through a lot of stuff really quickly, and we wanted to kind of hit some highlights as we close the year. It's holiday week. A lot of people are, you might be sitting, you might be eating a lot, you might be, hanging out with family. Try to take everybody and get everybody up and move. Everybody feels better. So if you're watching, we'd love to hear what you guys want to talk about. We are going to be going live next week. It'll be the next year already, which I can't believe. 2021. Sounds very strange to say. But we really, really appreciate you guys joining us and watching us. There have been a lot of people on. I have a little munchkin coming in here to say hi. We're just about done. Okay. And so now we have 3 generations. This one epitomizes moving. And say hi to Nina.
Hi.
Hi, sweetheart. She never stands still.
Right. She never stands still, never sits down. Right?
Yes.
So thank you all so much. We really, really appreciate. And as always, if you have any questions, any topics you want to talk about, please feel free to let us know.
I'm working on a little cheat sheet to summarize some of these things.
Right. So my mom is putting together a really handy little cheat sheet for getting us moving and healthy in the new year. So drop a comment if you want it. Say just cheat sheet, or message us privately, and we'll just get your email and we'll email it to you. So spread the word if you want to share this out to your friends. If you're thinking of somebody who needs to move a little more, who might have little aches, body aches, stiffnesses, or whatever that needs to hear this, you can tag them or share it. And as always, we appreciate you joining us for Live with Nai every thumbs up every Sunday.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Sage.
Bye.
Okay. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.